What are going to sing out here? I'm also going to say to all my wonderful, beautiful face in the world. Just miss you, love you. Today we got the profile of Grandblue. Of course, we got Mom John breaking it down for us, and here we go.
All right. Shout outs to Ryan for lending the deck for the deck profile. My Grandblue deck isn't fully done yet, but his is, and we attuned it to the way I play it. So thank you very much. Before that, let me guys just say this: Grandblue is a very fun clan. I've been playing it since Nightrose, and
you're welcome.
Yeah, and everyone's been super generous in helping me build the deck, so thank you very much. Anyway, so onto the deck profile. I'm gonna go grade zeros, work my way down, then triggers. So obviously you play Guiding Zombie. It's the only starter that you can play. Yeah, I mean it's a G starter. It's very self-explanatory.
You mean V starter?
V starter, yeah, G starter.
That doesn't have Forerunner.
For grade 3s, we play 4 of the Baskirk, King of Demonic Seas Baskirk. Now, the card is very good in certain situations. Actually, it's good in a lot of situations. The main key with this deck is that you want to pressure your opponent as much as you can. For those who don't know, I'm sorry, I didn't even go over the effect. During your turn, if you have 10 cards in drop zone, it gets plus 5k in a crit. It has the Protect gift, and then for Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, you can choose a unit in your drop zone, res it, and then it gets power based on the grade of that unit. 5k for every grade. Now, this card is really good, A, for pressuring, because if you're constantly on this and constantly resing units, every turn your opponent has to guard a crit, which is really good. Not only that, but it's the main grade 3 that you want to ride, and the main grade 3 you want to stay on, but the next grade 3 that you, the option is not always a bad target per se, it's good, better on rear guard. 3 Dragon, Undead Skull Dragon. This card is super good, like mega busted. Holy, it's exactly, it's reverse whale. Like, so from hand it can't be called. You can still ride it, but Vanguard Rearguard during your turn, it gets 2k for every card in your drop zone. Every card in your drop zone gets 2k. So, you know, on early turns, like it's small, it still swings in for like 22 or something like that. Late game, this card is stupid. Like, you have 30 cards in your drop zone, and for some reason, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? If you have like 30 cards in your drop zone for some reason, this thing gets like plus 60k, which is really good. Late game, you can ride it as well. Vanguard swings in for a huge number that they have to guard. Overall, very stupid card. It's a good late game card and a solid early game card. Plus it has Protect You, so it's not terrible when you ride it. And then I play 1 Hulk. Ability is Soul Blast 1 grade 3, and you discard any card from your hand. It gets plus 5. And when it attacks, your opponent cannot guard with Sentinels, and for whatever grade you discard it. So this is a very good late game card. This is essentially how you close out every one of your games. The main key of the deck is that you try to stall if you can, you try to stall your opponent as much as you can, try to get them to the 4 or 5 damage range, and then if you have a 0, a 1, and a 2 in your hand, they can't guard the attack. Unless, you know, they can intercept and be cheeky. But.
Miracle Dandy! You ain't D Police!
Alright, grade 2s. Grade 2s, we play 4 Rune Shade.
Rune once again becomes stable on deck!
Yeah! Vanguard Rearguard, nil 3. No.
Read cards.
I read cards. No, 2. Gets 4k, and then if you have 10 in drop zone, it gets an additional 4k. Very good. Early game, this is essentially your ride target, what you always want to ride. That way you can start nailing your drop zone. I mean, it kind of sucks that it's a random mill, so there are going to be certain situations where, you know, trigger, or like key pieces in your deck, and you're really sad, but it's okay, because the faster you get to 10 cards in drop zone with this deck, the better outcome you have of surviving a lot of things. So playing 4 and optimizing it is the way to go. We play 4 Captain Nightness. Ability is Counterblast 1. Call grade 1 or less from drop zone, but if you have 10, you can call anything you want from the drop zone. This is a very, very key card in the sense that if there are certain situations where you have to ride Undead Skull Dragon and you do not see your Baskirk, this will basically be your Baskirk in the sense that it'll help make your drop zone your second hand. And it's a solid 9k, which is good. My only gripe with it is that it's a rearguard only. I would have loved it if it was a Vanguard rearguard skill, but then I feel like that would have been too broken. But overall, very good card. And then, lastly, 4 Commodore Blue Blood. Effect is if you have, during your turn, if you have a Blue Blood in your drop zone, it gets 4K, and then an attack that this hits on rearguard, you can sack it, draw 2, discard 1. So, the ideal play for me, if I can live the dream, would be calling 2 of these on grade 2, and having this. So that way, these are pressuring, and they basically would have to take Vanguard. And if they don't take either one of these, if they take one of them, then you sack off the one to draw, and then this one gets stronger. And if they don't, well, then they're sacking more cards in your hand. And if it filters for your drop, it helps fill your drop zone, it helps draw cards in your hand. This card is really good for pressure. Very good card.
I hate it.
I love it.
I love you.
Stop bullying me!
Alright, grade 1s. 4 Dandy Guy Mario.
Talk about glow up.
Effect is if you have 10 cards in your drop zone. A lot of these cards, their key text is if you have 10 cards in drop zone, it helps unlock abilities. For him, it's if you have 10 cards in drop zone, he gets +4. Then his secondary ability is when he's rode upon, you counterblast 1, put a card from your hand into the soul, know 3 cards from the top of your deck, and then you grab 1 card and put it into your hand. So very good in the sense that, yeah, it's a random mill, but that mill can either be a PG that you might need, or a grade 3 that you might want to ride, or a grade 2 that you might need. There's so much in the deck where, A, it can live being in the drop zone, and if it can, then you can easily get into your hand, or if there's a specific key piece that you need, then you can fish it out with this card. And then in late game, it's a constant 12K booster. This behind a Baskirk on late game is really good.
Yep.
I hate it. It's annoying.
You love it.
I love you.
Stop bullying me.
We play 4 Dancing Cutlass. Effect is from drop zone. You bind 1 card, 1 copy of it, and then you res the other one, and then you mill the top card of your deck, and you countercharge 1. The reason why we play this is that, yes, you mill the mill, but you're essentially breaking even in that sense because you're binding 1 and milling the 1, so you're really not fueling your drop zone. The only reason why we play it is because you need the countercharge. This is your only source of countercharging in this deck, and this deck counterblasts a lot, so you have to be very careful when you play this card. You have to time it.
And with that, how many countercharging engines or ways or whatever are available in standard? Like 4?
Like 4, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
4. Wow. Jesus.
Where's Royals?
Play 4 Norman the Ghosty. This card I freaking love. It's so good. You retire it. You know 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of your rear guards, or choose one of your units, and give it 10k power. So early game, if you have blue bloods, and you need to fuel your drop zone, yeah, go ahead, call your Norman the Ghosty, get this 10k. Now it's 19. If you milled a blue blood, now it's 23 on the early game. Late game, okay, cool. Let me pump up my Vanguard. This is gonna be a million with a crit. Oh, you gotta guard it. Oh, you can't guard it. Cool. Let me ride this Violence Fighter. I'm just gonna know out as much about if I can with my Normans, and then I'm gonna make this thing huge, and then you can't guard it.
Why are you bullying him first?
Stop bullying me.
This card is super good. It synergizes with the deck in the sense that you
You can bully all of your opponents?
Bully all of your opponents, get cards into the drop zone, and pump up your rear guards. Super good card.
It's stupid as a grade 1.
And then last card we play one of the was it Night Weather? I think it's Nightwear. Grieving Bullet, Nightwear. Effect is when he's placed, you know the top card of your deck, and if you have 10 cards in drop zone, he gets 10k. So you could play, was it the rare Rune Shade? Not Rune Shade, Evil Shade. The thing is that I find myself not using that effect because I counterblast enough with Baskirk, I counterblast enough with Nightness. The deck counterblasts enough where I don't find use in Evil Shade, so I'd rather have this where at least I get a 10k boost in the late game, and or I can start fueling my drop zone if I need to. So it's just a tech choice, but if you guys want to run Evil Shade, you can do that too.
And what's the trigger lamp, John? We're also wondering.
Well, I mean, there are draws in the deck.
Man, draws in Grandblue, that's crazy.
So you run 4 PGs.
Oh man, what's the other triggers looking like, John?
Front triggers.
And the other triggers are 8 crit, 4 draw.
Wow. Such diversity.
It is. I mean, it's essentially a lot of Protect clans. I feel like this is the standard trigger lineup because you're trying to stall your opponent and then overrun them with power. But yeah, 4 heal, 8 crit. Pretty self-explanatory. Overall, the deck is a lot of fun, guys. I will say this: be very, very careful with your counterblasts in this deck. your opponent can, what I call counterblast locking you, where they only give you like one counterblast or no counterblast in a turn, and that's really detrimental.
You're welcome.
So be careful, like if I can say this, be careful how you use your dancing cutlasses,
Henry, can you not?
and be careful.
Henry, can you not?
Be careful when you use Basker's skill, because there might be a certain situation where you can't use it the following turn. Other than that though, the deck is a lot of fun. I would highly recommend people to try the build. And yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. We'll try to answer them if we can. Tell me how bad my deck is. Yeah, pretty much. I do appreciate the feedback, regardless. And I don't believe there's anything else. Like, comment, subscribe, right? That's still a thing. Remember, we have a Twitter page, guys. Go follow us on Twitter, even though we don't.
Twitter page?
Yeah, even though we don't post anything on that. I'll try to maybe me or Alphonse will start being on
Twitter page?
Alphonse. We'll try to be a little more active on that if you guys want. We don't have a Discord. We don't. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, guys. We actually do post on Facebook. Surprisingly.
Henry posts regularly.
There you go.
Every time a video comes out and not 2 weeks after it comes out, right, Henry?
I try to.
Oh yeah, and then bell for notifications if you don't follow us on Facebook. There's plenty of ways to know them when we have videos. Anyways, that's it. So we're Team Gradelock. I'm signing out. Doing my signature. Deuces.